that what people will still see in 50 years are the tools that she created for adult illiterates to use. Not necessarily that they could be replicated in a different place and time, but that it is possible to be creative with the tools that we use for educating people. And that they do need to be changed, adjusted, and attenuated, depending on the audience. I also think that the long lesson of Cora's struggle, and it was a struggle, was just that anytime you want to affect change, any time and place, whatever it is, it's not going to be easy. It's going to take someone who's a bit of a fanatic to make it happen. Because most of us will get in line, but only a few of us will step to the head of the line. And only a few people will make the kind of personal sacrifice that she actually made. A lot of people 10 years ago would have said, she just needed to get a life. But for her life, that was her life. Her life was education. Her life was trying to make the world a better place. She was very much an idealist, I think, but in a practical way. I think it's hard nowadays because public figures are so scrutinized and everything that you say is immediately debunked or attacked in some way. And so a person like her couldn't survive. And she had her detractors in her own day. But interestingly, she rarely took them on in a negative way. She believed that her work ultimately would speak for itself, and that the thousands of volunteers who came to her aid in the Moonlight Schools would prove that that task needed to be done.
Yeah. What is the lasting comment that you could say on Cora Wilson Stewart's work, not only in the county, state, but nationally and internationally?
I think it would be a little bit of what I just said, that in order to be successful is actually not what she was ultimately, but to be earnest and committed and dedicated. I think that's the lesson we learned from her, is that all citizens in a democracy need to be committed to the betterment of that democracy. And what better way than to see that citizens are educated? I think the political message is particularly important because so many Americans are disaffected, and it has not to do with their inability to read. It has, I think, only to do with their ability to stay focused and interested and to put forth the effort and the research that it takes to understand what's happening. And sadly, a lot of us we look for our information in a soundbite, in a, in a short quote. And very often when you reduce it to that, you lose so much. I think there's a type of literacy that is being lost in our modern society. And it is the fact-finding that goes into the details and into the big picture. And we do tend to want, just give me the bottom line. Just show me the outcome. And so if all we did was look at the outcome of the Moonlight Schools, we probably would have to say they were not particularly successful because they did not end illiteracy for rural adults. And again, I guess to that I'd have to say, duh.
It's such a larger picture. I guess some people say, well, I didn't stop them from being illiterate, but you got to understand the culture, the reach, and
right, the depth of the problem that exists today. And that's a frightening concept, I think, when you, the illiteracy standard changed, granted, during her time and her work, but the nature of illiteracy did not. And has not. And I believe in today's society, our illiteracy rates are unacceptable, totally unacceptable. In her time, it was largely defined by poverty and lack of access. I believe in today's society, it remains largely defined by poverty and lack of access. And bringing the internet to rural areas is certainly going to help. But will those people with access to the internet in the rural areas now, in the more isolated areas, will they use the internet to enrich and create an educational climate for themselves, or will they use it primarily for entertainment and for going to that little blurb that describes everything?
Yeah.
Family values, that becomes reducing everything to a short phrase.
My favorite quotes was, I think this was during the last presidential election, but folks with the family values, family motifs in politics would vote for the Manson family because they have family in their name.
And
They're good family people.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, you're absolutely right. When the look at everything is that surface, that's what you're going to get.
What's the name of the book you did on Cora Wilson Stewart, and where could people find it?
It's a wonderful book. I have a copy right here, and I just looked at it. There's one in the kitchen. It's called Cora Wilson Stewart and Kentucky's Moonlight Schools. And the second is Fighting for Literacy in America. And in this book, I tie her to the National Crusade. Obviously, it's not just a Kentucky or a Moorhead story. She was part of a larger movement, the Progressive Era. She was part of a larger picture for women to step out of their narrowly defined roles as teachers, as educators, whatever they were, and to become leaders in those fields. She also, interestingly though, as a churchwoman, that was the hardest area to change because men preached, women sort of filled the pews. Women did the social work, but they often did so at the direction of a male leader. And so in a lot of ways she was a revolutionary, but in most ways, I think like most women who were successful in her generation, they were also evolutionary. Because those who were particularly outspoken and particularly strident ended up being marginalized. And there's a degree of marginalization that happened to Cora Wilson, as it did to most public women. But she was more cautious in that regard. She also remained focused. She could have gotten on many different bandwagons at the time, but she stayed true to her movement of literacy and change in education. And I think that's one of the big pictures, and it's one of the major themes of the book.
All right. You can find it at your local bookstore. Right?
Yes, absolutely.
Well, that will do.
Okay.